the city wants to get into the internet business.
Hey, I'm just working late in the office, aka watching videos in the office because I don't want to go outside because there's a polar bomb-ass vortex out there, when I saw a video attacking Fort Collins, Colorado for wanting to start their own broadband utility. The commercial was paid for by a campaign called Priorities First Fort Collins, which officially received more than $500,000 from Comcast, the internet service provider that stands to lose its precious monopoly on the internet if the city votes to make it a public utility. But I just wanted to go through it with you just to see all the lies that they tell in an insane way in this video. Let's check it out.
I love Fort Collins, and things are really moving.
Okay, first thing right out of the gates is a lie. You don't love Fort Collins, dude in the faux hawk. You wanna know how I know? Because you're in an ad that's trying to stop people in Fort Collins from getting fast internet.
And things are really moving.
But that usually means traffic isn't.
Okay, right here, that's not traffic, okay? That's a functioning intersection with maybe 30 cars waiting for their turn to get a green light. That's not traffic.
Instead of focusing on this, the city wants to get into the internet business.
And there's the real issue behind this commercial. Because if a city gets into the internet business, then companies currently charging huge amounts of cash for mediocre service will lose money.
Measure 2B would spend $150 million on a broadband network, with no plan for how to do it.
Actually, Measure 2B doesn't cost any money. It's just the measure that makes a city legally allowed to consider making the internet a public utility. Comcast spent $500,000 to prevent the conversation from even taking place. Yes, it will cost $150 million to build the infrastructure for the broadband internet. But once it's a city utility, people will pay that money back to the city. Because now the city makes the internet.
And if it loses money, our electricity bills could go up.
Oh my God, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? If it loses money, our bills could go up? If could is not an argument.
Instead, we should invest in public safety.
Says the fifth person in this video who's not watching the road while he's driving a car.
Affordable housing!
Okay, now there's a legitimate argument. Affordable housing. How do we build affordable? Fuck you, okay? Borrowing $150 million in bonds that will quickly be repaid once your citizens are starting to use the internet as a public utility is not the one roadblock that's stopping you from building a bunch of affordable housing.
And roads and bridges!
Oh, you mean like those roads and bridges? Those pristine roads and bridges that you're using as a point that you need roads and bridges? What are you talking about? Also, there's no traffic on those roads or bridges. I mean, there's traffic on the off-ramp, but that's because it's an off-ramp.
Vote no on 2B.
Watch the road. All right, I know you're zipping along at 45 on a road with no other cars on it in the middle of this highly trafficked Fort Collins, Colorado speedway, but I wouldn't want you to get into a collision.
Because the internet won't speed this up.
Except for, yes, it will. Because the more people with high-speed internet connections, the more people can work from home and shop from home and go to school online. Although you might technically have me here because that's a red light. And the internet doesn't speed up red lights. So after big internet service providers spent $515,000 creating and distributing these ads, the people of Fort Collins, Colorado voted yes on 2B, but only by 57%. That means that this commercial contributed to 43% of the population voting against the city's best interests. This shady tactic will not end with Fort Collins. The only thing big ISPs learned from this is that they need to spend more than $500,000 to effectively shut down competition. They're gonna pull this same move over and over again to maintain their grip on the internet. The loss of net neutrality was a huge blow to the American citizens, but it's not the end of the battle. You can call your local representatives and ask them about making the internet a municipal utility in your city. You can vote for legislation that supports a publicly owned internet, and you can watch the road while you're driving. Thanks for watching.